Alright guys, this is the watch list video for Monday, June 26th. There's 5 trading days left in the month of June. And you can see here, I said I'm going to start every video off with my equity curve. And when I said that, I didn't realize I was going to have any red days going forward. So I was feeling kind of cocky. No, I'm just kidding. You're always going to have red days as a trader. But there, I circled it. These aren't, each one of these ticks isn't a day. This is, if you see down here, it's the number of trades or trade number. So this isn't per day, so keep that in mind. So if I have a couple red trades, I'm going to have a down tick and then an uptick. If that's how it is. Each green little dot is considered, I guess, a short-term peak. Or I'm not sure how they calculate that, but anyway, been grinding it higher all June, and then had kind of a cruddy day on Friday. Couldn't do much right. Hopefully, I'll blame it on something besides myself. I'll say it was the Russell rebalancing, which obviously had nothing to do with it. But anyway, hate to take the blame myself. Anyway, couldn't do much right on Friday, so I did have a red day, and I'm going to just continue to show my equity curve every day and talk about that at the beginning of the videos because it seems like the right thing to do. All right, SPY, this is like the third pretty narrow range day in a row. There were plenty of opportunities on Friday. I just didn't really trade well. But let's go into the watch list for Monday. Ross stores, R-O-S-T. I like to catch intraday turns on something that's really beaten up like this. But you do have a nice hammer candle after a pretty good sell-off. So this is just simply looking for a continuation of this bounce, right? It started an intraday bounce on Friday and just looking for that bounce to continue because it's oversold in the short term. So it's not a terrible setup. And this isn't on the watch list, but here's another example of one, was BURL. And BURL at one point on Friday was a solid red candle all the way down to here. And I kind of put it on alert in chat, but I really wanted it to go below 80, to take out this lows from January. And then I was going to really look for a reversal. And as you can see, when I go to intraday, it reversed before that, and I never caught a trade. I mean, it wasn't one of my top picks or anything, but it is a good, it's a good picture example. A good illustration, I guess I should say, of a stock that's really beaten up for a few days in a row and then sells off the next morning as well. It's a great, it's a great time to look for a reversal, because what you've got is 3 down days, and then you've got a 4th down day, and people are piling in short, thinking, well, I guess it's going to zero, and then you get that nice snapback, and that is exactly what happened in Burlington on Friday, and to some degree Ross stores as well with that intraday reversal, right? It started out of the gate pretty weak too, and really didn't run till the afternoon. So anyway, looking for a continuation bounce in some of these retailers on Monday. Speaking of beaten up retailers, Costco, C-O-S-T, it's fallen pretty far pretty quickly. So again, this is an example of what I just showed you. I would love to see an early sell-off in Costco on Monday, and then I would be looking for an intraday reversal, kind of expecting maybe the chart to end up looking like this by the end of the day with a nice hammer. So, it reminds me of that or BURL, only maybe we can catch this one, a nice reversal intraday on Monday. Anyway, SYY, this is a different kind of bounce play, but at the same time, I kept telling everybody, and I got long this thing in the 4870s. Let me rephrase that. Let me go to 5-minute candles. I'm sorry, the 4970s down in here. And this line is from the daily chart. Because it had come already, 4 or 5 days down in a row, and then a huge down day to take out a very clear recent low on the chart, which was 40. God, I can't read tonight. 49.89. So I drew the line there, and when something's gotten that far over 4 or 5 days in a row, and then a huge range day, which you don't really see many of those on this chart, a huge range day after a sell-off, to get down and take out those lows, and this is something I teach to our members in chat all the time. I look for reversals below lines like that on an intraday basis. Now, this one never made it easy, and I think I only made like $400 on this on Friday. But I expected it to close above 50. It ended up closing at 49.91. Having said that, I still think this thing's way overdone, and I'm looking for a bounce in it on Monday. RIGL had this nice pop, flagged for a few days, and actually on an intraday basis on Friday, look at this, sold off and then ended up closing at its highs. So looking for that. Let me see this on 15s real quick. Yeah, I mean, you've got this big pop and really kind of a nice channel. So I'm looking for an upward break out of that channel on Monday. We'll see if it gives us a nice intraday setup. This RIGL. Kroger, I don't love this chart, KR, but you had the huge sell-off, then you had a gap down, and really since the gap down, it's really kind of flagging to the upside, right? Here's this pop, and then it's just, you know, I don't know where I want to get long. It's kind of interesting. I would say maybe over 23 into that gap, but you know, it's also interesting over Friday's high, 2278. And then maybe 20, if it can get over that, maybe that gets it to and through 23, and maybe a move up into the gap, right? So actually, as I'm talking right now, I'm going to write down that number, 2278, in my notes as a potential catalyst, because I like to know that. It's easier to write it down now and draw a line there on my chart for Monday than to do it on the fly, right? We do everything we can as day traders to prepare. MBRX gapped up on, see, this would have been Wednesday, kind of turned or tried to turn on Thursday and definitely turned back up on Friday. Here it is on 15s. I don't know, this one's kind of interesting. It's got nice support below, and it really, I think a lot of people, when you get the gap up, a lot of the sellers just expect, you know, this low priced, crappy stock, right? They're always going to fill the gap. Well, they don't always. And sometimes if you catch some short strapped, you can get an explosive upside. So I do want to watch this for a potential long on Monday. And a couple more here, XBIT. You had this real nice, you know, beating up here, and then chopping sideways, and then a nice volume day on Thursday, and kind of a quiet inside day on Friday. Tough trader, so be careful with it. No trades in it at all for me on Friday, but I think it's still worth watching. And then PULM got an interesting, the daily chart still is just kind of in a tight channel, but on an intraday basis got a big volume spike on Friday, and it's really kind of flagging after that spike. So that's also in my notes. Certainly hoping to find some nice gappers in the morning as well, but I'm going to leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and we'll see everybody on Monday.